Good morning, everybody. How we doing today? Please allow me to lay a little foundation about the recognized need for the Virtual American Job Center, also known as the Virtual AJC. Jobs for TN has millions of individuals logging onto the website on an annual basis. So what happens to all these people? Some are able to locate the information that they wanted. Some get frustrated because they're not finding what they need. Let's face it, it's a complicated website. Some have difficulty navigating the site and leave prematurely. And others simply have no idea how to use the website or who can assist them with the services that our programs and job centers have to offer. The virtual AJC will be a proactive outreach to help individuals navigate the website, along with informing these potential customers about the activities and services that are provided by our American Job Centers across the state of Tennessee. Now, with us this morning, we have Mr. Brandon Bond, who's a career specialist at the Murfreesboro AJC. We have Mr. Keith Rogers, who's a grants analyst in the performance unit in central office. And we have Holly Williams, who is also a career specialist in the performance unit at central office. And for those of you who don't know, my name is Sharon Pelch. It's not funny. Okay. Let's start out. What is the overall goal of this outreach program?
I think I can answer that. So we were kind of given this idea. I want to say it was Dustin Swain, the former deputy commissioner, who saw this need for us to be able to kind of grab people that were getting overwhelmed when you go on to jobsfortn.gov and there's so much information there, and a lot of people just don't know where to start. And I think the estimate was like 4.6 million people that go on the site every year. And how many of those people just kind of skip right off the site and go and look at maybe a more user-friendly site, maybe Indeed or Monster Jobs or something like that. And he said, well, what are we doing to bring those people into the fold and kind of get them some help? So there was really that recognized need to grab those people and kind of direct them to a program or a service or somebody that could assist them in getting the help that they really needed, rather than have them become overwhelmed and leave. We can now proactively reach them where they're looking for UI assistance or resume, when they're building on the resume builder, any of the things that we can also help them with in the HAC. We can reach out, ask them if they would like in-person assistance, and kind of get them into a brick and mortar place where a person can help them with something.
Yes, it's really based on reaching them and in their real-time involvement on the site, and I think that's probably one of the most meaningful things because we're able to assist them maybe before they even know they need help, but really engaging with them proactively with exactly what they're doing at that time, and directing them to a staff member who can provide additional information.
As the final member of the team that the actual customer sees, and being in a local AJC, my outreach is more to show them what's available to them, whether it's just through some questions that maybe they didn't know somebody was there to answer, resume questions, information on the local job searching. Also getting them to those brick and mortar physical AJCs, depending on what area they're in, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to provide them these direct funding for potential training, but they may not know it's available until they contact us. And so when they leave me and they go to their our respective local AJCs, they know that if something's different, something's wrong, they can reach back out to me. They leave with my phone number, my email address. They can always contact me back after the process, so it's not like we're pushing them out the door and then hopefully Clarksville or hopefully Murfreesboro does what they need to do. If they're not getting the appropriate service, then they can contact me back and I can reach out to the AJC, or we can figure out together what it is, that particular area, or what they need to do to get the assistance and training, whatever it is they're looking for.
So, and let me back up just for a second, because what we're really doing is we have staff at French Landing who are using technology. We're using it's what we call Zopum Chat and using Zendesk. We can see where individual users are on Jobs for TN at any given time. We have certain activities on the website that kind of trigger us to kind of look at those people, and you know, we can make a determination to reach out to that person and say, hey, ask them if they want help, whereas maybe they weren't sure, you know, if they would get to a real person when they click on the little help icon. And I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have is, you know, if I'm going to click the help icon and I'm going to get a robotic answer, which happens. That's going to happen on any help function that you go to. But really, we want the people of Tennessee, when they get on Jobs for TN, to understand that, you know, there are real people behind this system, and it's not just people at the job center. There are people on the other end of the line, and you know, if you work, you know, a full day, a 12-hour day or an 8-hour day, wherever you're at, and you come to the website and you're looking for a better opportunity, when you put in a message there's a person that's going to be there to get in touch with you and to help direct you to a service that's going to help you. So how it works, really, Holly is like our #1 chat agent. She'll get on there, reach out to several people at once, and not everybody's going to respond. I mean, right now, I think 85% of the people that we contact don't respond at all. But the 15% of people that do respond, of those people, it's like 50% of those end up becoming participants. You know, and then the other portion of those people are either, you know, not looking for help at that moment, or they've already been helped and they're sitting in an AJC right at the time. So there's a lot of value there in the ability just to engage with people. So I think my favorite thing about it is and kind of the motto that I've come up for the program is, you know, let me put you in touch. And building it, you know, building the program with Holly and with Brandon, the idea was never, well, someone's going to get back to you later. It was always, you know, my name's Keith, and I'm going to put you in touch with Brandon. And if you don't hear from him, this is my email address. This is my phone number. You can call me. You can reach back out to me on the chat, and you know, a person is going to get back to you and help you navigate through this and get you to the next step.
Yeah, definitely. When Holly talks to them and kind of essentially the virtual AJC is what it sounds. She's operating our front desk, figuring out, you know, some just generalized problems and passing that chat log on to me, and I'm going a little deeper into it. So, you know, it's funny. I'll get the whole chat log. So Holly will send out a couple messages, and then she's got to go do other work. She's very busy. She'll send a final message. Hey, this is my email if you changed your mind. And the amount of folks that we get contact her back after, oh, that was actually a person reaching out to me. It's pretty funny. A lot of folks really do want to have that personal, even if they never contact one of us again, to know they can. That's been pretty helpful for folks, just to know they have somewhere that they can reach back out to, and we're going to try to get them connected. We're going to do our best to work with them, whether they're in a rural area or, you know, right next to one of our big comprehensive AJCs.
Okay, is it my turn?
Yes.
Hot diggity. Some of y'all may be aware that I was involved in a project, or a pilot project back in 2012. Does anyone know what that was called? How about Jobs for TN? So is this a pilot program?
This is a pilot program. Currently, we're operating in northern Middle Tennessee. Brandon is one of our two career specialists who are kind of on the ground that we're directing customers to for assistance, and so far he's done a really great job getting them enrolled.
I'm sorry.
What is our strategy to divert online users to the brick and mortar locations?
So, as we said, one of the big strategies is the proactive engagement of people. We're starting a discussion that begins as informative, asking them if they need help, giving them a little bit of information about what they can receive help, whether it's receiving help with a job search or looking into what training opportunities may be available. But we're engaging with them in an informative way, and then through that, building trust and confidence, because this is a completely different approach than we've ever done before. And that's probably one of the challenges that we've had is, people are a little wary. But as Brandon said, just really establishing that you're a real person and you have real solutions. You can connect them with someone who can assess their situation and actually provide help.
As far as me, I'm really the one that's dealing with them at the end and determining whether they need to go to a local center or not. My strategy is really dependent on what they're looking for. I'm not, if they just have, like I said earlier, if they just have some job searching questions and stuff that I can help them with, we're not trying to get them into their local center necessarily to answer those questions. I can answer those questions. I'm able to reach out to them and talk to them, even if it's tomorrow or 2 weeks from now. They know that they have a contact that they can reach back out to. But again, if they want training, if they want some workshops, they want to go to job fairs, obviously I can't provide that. But I can provide them with the locations that are hosting job fairs or have a computer with printer access, and they can fax, and they got some folks in there that can answer some quick questions if they need some help. So my strategy is to determine if they need to be physically in an American Job Center and get them the appropriate information and direct them to their most local place where they can get some assistance one-on-one in person.
Okay. How are we supporting small business and the diversity in our communities?
Well, in identifying the needs that individuals have for training or education, we're matching those with businesses that we know are needing to fill those positions with employees that support growth in the community and meet the needs of both the individuals and the employers.
Yeah, I mean, small businesses aren't going to have a whole lot of funds to get somebody trained or get them a degree or pay for some schooling. So just by the mere fact that we're offering some good opportunities for clients to get some training, to get some grant funding, to make them available to those small businesses, because that may be more their style than a more bigger corporate setting. So, I mean, again, just the services that we provide can help the small businesses through teaching their workforce, essentially.
And on top of it, we have we have an AJC, a brick and mortar AJC in almost every community. So our ability to reach out to people, I think. And I kind of use this analogy a lot. I mean, we're looking at, we're another job site, and we need to kind of leverage the things that differentiate us from the other job sites, and everybody in this room, we're what does that. We're people that have been there. We live in these communities. The people that come into the AJC, they're just like you and me. They want to work. They want to do. They want a better opportunity, and by kind of reaching out to those businesses in the community, because they understand that too. They want good community-involved people. So when you do that, and I really feel like we're kind of leveraging the virtual platform to reach out to people in the community who haven't really thought about an American Job Center as a place to look. But I know, I personally, from my experience, know that it can be transformative to go to a job center. So, and I want other people to have that experience as well.
How has this program transformed our service delivery through this virtual approach?
Well, as we said, this is an entirely different approach that we're taking, reaching out to people remotely. So we're providing them with maybe a more convenient way to get the information about training and services that they need. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say that, we're reaching a lot of folks that never even knew we were there. We've all experienced getting on a website. It's difficult, it's hard to use, so you just don't get on it anymore, and having that, I don't know how many people I've helped, just talking them through a simple how to get to the resume builder, how to do a different type of job search. They use it more. There's a lot of people that get on there and use it to do their weekly certification for unemployment, and they do it because they have to do it in order to get paid. Well, what they don't know is learning to use the website makes it easier for that process too. You don't have to enter in all those external jobs that you've done searching elsewhere. It will connect to the jobs that you've done on Jobs for TN. So all the tools that they're using 3 or 4 different websites for, well, we all know Jobs for TN has all those tools. It's sometimes just difficult to access or learn to access. And us sitting around playing on the website all day, we always learn it. We're always learning new stuff that it can do. And, oh, man, telling Keith, hey, did you know that the website can do this? Well, if it's not working for the customer, they're not going to play around with it until they figure out how it works. They're going to move on to the next website, the Indeed, as Keith said, or the Monster, that they can just put their resume and they can click apply. And while that seems easier, it's not all. You may have a bad resume up, and there's no resume score option for you to know if that's a good resume. Or so I think that purely reaching out and contacting folks that may never even have known about us beforehand has been extremely helpful.
Absolutely. I definitely think that the just the proactive aspect of that is probably the most transformative thing. We're not waiting for people to stumble across their next opportunity. We're reaching out, and when we're really trying to put them in touch with that next opportunity.
Describe the success that y'all have experienced so far with the virtual AJC.
So it's definitely been convenient for people. You get a lot of people, we see different peak times during the day, and a lot of those times are usually when people are at lunch, or maybe they have a few minutes before they go get their kids from school. So definitely providing a convenient way to connect them with the information and services available.
Well, I've had a couple of clients that were going to come into the Murfreesboro AJC to meet me, cancel on me because they got jobs, so I would say that's probably a good success. But, like Holly said, people are more willing to do stuff for themselves and use the services you give if they know they can reach back out to you if it doesn't work the first time around. So,
Yeah, really bridging that gap, you know, because they're on the site and I'm sure they know that there are resources and tools there, but just providing them with a little bit of direction has been, you know, because they're on the site because they want to use it. They want a job. And so just giving them a little bit of direction of, you know, what we have to offer has been, it doesn't take much. The people that have responded have been very receptive to the information.
a lot of these folks we've all had those customers that, you know, everything's fine until you really start asking them, hey, you know, do you need some help with this? And then it's all coming out. Then, oh, okay, so you weren't okay. You don't just need to sit on the computer. Maybe you do need a little help with your resume or your interviewing technique. So I think this has been good for a lot of folks that maybe never would have asked for any help, even if they knew it was available too.
I think I kind of have a tendency to look at the success from a different perspective as well, being in the performance section and kind of accidentally becoming an analyst. I had to build metrics. You know, I had to build a way to figure out, you know, how effective we were being with this program. And I think the numbers speak for themselves. So, because we're only operating in northern Middle Tennessee, we don't have a full-time agent on Zendesk every day. But when we do have people on there, right now our numbers are saying that we will have, by the end of the year, we'll have entered about 450 new participants into Wagner-Pizer by the end of the year, just from the virtual AJC alone. So, you know, so metrically, I think the numbers speak for themselves. You're not going to get everybody, but you're gonna help, you know, more people across the state. And when we do eventually expand, you know, so multiply that by 9, and you're going to see, you know, in the thousands of people that we're able to get into a service or assistance of some sort.
Thanks for the segue. What will be needed on a statewide basis to continue this level of success?
So definitely designated staff who are prepared to receive these individuals from the online, from the tickets that are created online. But as far as for us also, a comprehensive list of what the local areas are offering so that we, you know, we know where to send them to get the services that they need.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to, you know, when I have the opportunity to get to the other local centers. Obviously, I know how Murfreesboro runs and operates, but it's that much easier to help a client that is in the Rutherford County area because I know everything that's going on in that center. I know what day they're having job fairs, and so actually knowing all of the information, because we're all under one large umbrella, but we all have to operate a little differently based on our local communities and what is needed and the sectors that are there. So yeah, a more comprehensive list. And obviously, as she said, you know, folks to answer the questions in each of the areas. But the good thing is we can reach out to as many or as little as needed. You know, we're not receiving folks, we're reaching out to them. So that's helpful, and we can expand it a little bit at a time without ever getting inundated, because we're really controlling
The flow.
of
Yeah,
the folks that are coming.
So the plan right now is incremental expansion. So right now, you know, we've got the one area, then we'll open it up to another area once we've identified the kind of the key players in that area. But it's the whole idea is to drive people to the AJC. It's to get them, you know, so they're not just relying, well, I did my job search, I built a resume, you know, I got this score on it, but I don't know what to do with it now. You know, I can't seem to improve it or whatever. Well, we have someone there. Let me let's get you in to talk to that person so that they can get you in a resume writing class, or just something, anything anything's better than looking at your computer hoping for the next thing to happen. So but definitely having those resources in place, and it's not meant to take a career specialist away from their current workload, or inundate them with a lot of new candidates or case management issues or anything like that. It's meant to serve the people of Tennessee and put them in touch with the programs that are there for them.
What is the purpose of contacting these users proactively?
So because we can see what they're doing, we have a little bit of advantage. We can reach them where they are and provide assistance based on that. But we're reaching people, as we've said, that may never go into a brick and mortar location, but they still need the training and services that are available. They just don't know about it. So really, it's informative and directive for them.
I would say it definitely solves a lot of problems before they become problems. If we can answer some of those questions early on about a bad resume or a bad interview, then it's not going to be 6 or 7 months and they haven't had a job and now they need a job, instead of being able to correct some of those problems that they may be having in the forefront. It's helpful in that regard. Also, I think it hits some of the new mandates for the new governor, reaching out to the rural community that may, even if they know about a local American Job Center, it's not viable for them to drive 45 miles to get to it and then no employers be there, or they find out, oh, tomorrow's the resume writing workshop. So I think for that particular area, it's helpful as well.
What are individuals not getting from the site that you're able to offer them through the chat?
I was going to say just real-time connection, assistance from a real person, and not just an answer bot, not just a canned response, but if you have a real complex question, there are people there that can kind of think through that for you and help you resolve that, and you can reach back out if more, if the need arises, if you have more questions. So, I think that's at the heart of it.
Great. What are the challenges that you've experienced or that you foresee facing this program on a statewide level?
So certainly, it can be difficult sometimes to gain people's trust because initially they're not entirely convinced that you're a real person. But as we continue to work on the approaches that we have with the kind of most genuine canned responses, we're constantly improving our the personability of our engagement. So sorry, I forgot the question.
So we're talking about real-time and personal connections.
Yes.
Okay, great. What's the difference between the brick and mortar staff and the virtual proactive approach when assisting clients?
Well, I think that they have a little bit of advantage in that they can review someone's profile before they reach out. Brandon is nodding his head, so I'm going to see if he has anything he wants to add on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When Holly, our front desk associate, goes through the discussion with them, instead of a front desk staff member then, moving them to the next step at a local center, and me and that person going through all of that over again, I can review the whole chat that they've had. I know exactly all the questions they've asked. I'm able to look over their profile to see, they've minimally put this stuff in. can early on determine some potential WIOA eligibility. So they may not have ever talked about that with Holly, but if I see they're drawing unemployment or they're, on SNAP, I'm going to bring it up at least, because that may be, again, something they're not aware is available to them. So in that regard, yeah, Holly is absolutely correct. I'm able to better prepare for a client I know is coming in before they ever even know I'm preparing. So I'm able to ask more questions that are related to them instead of the general probing questions that we are normally doing in that intake process or individual meeting process.
And then there's also the remote accessibility portion of that. So you don't, our clients, we're proactively reaching out to them. We're not waiting for them to be in kind of so lost that they don't know where to go next. We're letting them know that help is available now, and also that they don't necessarily have to come right into an AJC to get help. We're eventually going to get them there. That is the goal, is to have them go and talk to a career specialist. But anything that we can identify on the front end is just going to make it go that much smoother when they do go and talk to a career specialist.
Okay. And how does this program bridge the gap between online users and in-office clients?
With a warm handoff. We reach out. Holly reaches out. Jasmine, she's our other office staff, and we have another gentleman who's training to do the same position right now. And it's all about relationships. So we have a good relationship with Brandon and Danny Gardner, who's our other field staff right now, and it's just when we identify a problem, we can go right to the source. We can make sure everything's communicated clearly and accurately and recorded the way it needs to be recorded.
I think it's, one of the things that and you said we were building relationships, and it's keeping those connections with people that, one of the kind of taglines that I have at the end is, if you have any other questions, you can reach back out on the chat and directly ask for me. So even if I don't provide you with assistance today, or if you get the assistance that you needed and then you're on the site again and you have another question, I'm still here. So,
Is there a perception among Tennesseans and our general public that the public workforce system isn't really there to help them?
I would say that there is. It's a scary thing, and it's definitely not an easy thing to sit in front of all of you fine people and say that, yeah, there is that misconception. But I've been with the department for just under a year. I'm a veteran. I was in college. I was looking for work, and my wife was like, "Well, how are you looking for work?" And my wife is like the smartest person I know, so I'm gonna hang on to her for a while. But
Is she here?
she's not here. No, she's not here. But if you could call her and tell her I said that, I would really.
I think this guy's filming up here. So.
But no, she said, what you're doing isn't working. And I was going to businesses and looking for positions. I was working in retail while I was going to school. And she said, hey, you have to do something different. And I said, well, I'm going to go to the job center tomorrow. And literally, I left from school. I went to the job center. I sat down with the DVOP, Jeff Dent. I don't know if he's in here today, but talked to him. I talked to Francisco at the Clarksville AJC, and it happened quick for me, So I'm a true believer in the workforce system. I never felt like it wasn't there to work for me, but there have been people since I've been in the department that said I didn't have a great experience when I went. So I haven't wanted to go back to your website, or I haven't wanted to go back into a job center. I started doing employer accounts, verifying employers, and they were shocked when a real person called them to verify that they were the actual owner or proprietor of a business. And I think that's something that we're all going to work really hard to tear down. There's this scary anonymity behind the internet, And I think if you can at least attach a name and a point of contact to that, I think we can go a long way to building people's confidence in the work that we do.
And I think the timely follow-up that's provided really speaks the most for the services that we provide, because we're saying that we're going to put you in touch with someone, and then, I don't want to say immediately, but in a very timely manner, they're connected with someone.
Yeah.
Someone reaches out and,
Well, Keith brought this word up earlier, communication. If you tell the client the truth and exactly what's going to happen, for example, I was out of town for a little bit, and Holly was assigning me tickets, but letting those clients know he won't be back until X date. Those clients had zero problem with that because they knew when to expect me to contact them back. Holly didn't say, all right, well, Brandon's going to contact you, and then it's up in the air, and I don't contact him for 3 days because I'm out of town. The communication and all of us have, if one of us has a problem or a question, we'll pick up the phone, give each other a call, because having clarity and all being on the same page is extremely important. We don't want to be Holly telling them one thing, and then they get to me, and I'm telling them one thing, and then it gets to the final stage at that AJC, and it's a completely different thing than what Holly said was going to happen. That's where, then we become a little bit more untrustworthy. And so
definitely having that
we've
transparency is.
Transparency, definitely.
And continuity of services as well. So you don't want to be told one thing by a chat agent and then receive a totally different quality of service by your in-person meeting,
All right. Well, I would anticipate, based on the success of the pilot program I was originally in, that we can expect equally positive results from this new program. We would be happy to take any questions that you folks might have. There are microphones on either end, I believe. Yes, ma'am? Please?
Are there no throw boxes?
Yeah, what happened to those?
The biggest room and we don't have a throw box? We don't have like an established timeline yet, and a lot of it is dependent on getting, like I said, we're training another gentleman right now to help us with this endeavor. So, and that's really what it is, because I mean, who in here grasped Voss the first day they got on? Okay. Can you come and train my staff? I mean, and that's what it comes down to is because we don't want to take, a new staff member and put them onto something that, that where they can't or aren't prepared to provide the quality of service that we expect.
Because believe it or not, people are very skeptical.
Yeah, and so I think right now it's metered growth is what it is, and we'll get there though, and we're really looking forward to it.
Don't worry, Kathy, we'll be calling you.
Mm-hmm.
Tom?
Let's say there's a person who is needing assistance, looking for a job, and they don't quite understand how to navigate it. Are you able to navigate for them or show them how to do that, like through a log meeting feature?
Are you talking about with the Jobs for TN website?
Well, let's say they're doing a job search,
Okay.
and, they see the box, but maybe they're defaulted to Tennessee and not their own particular county where they live. I'm sure you could chat that to them, but my question is like, are you able to manipulate the mouse and point?
No.
You can't do
No,
that.
I can't take remote access like that, but what I will do in that situation, I can see what they will see from their perspective going into the client's portion down and actually looking at what they're looking at. And I generally, I'm going to give them a call because that's the easiest way for us to both communicate. And I'll have them get on the website and we'll do it together. And I can say, click on X button. And if it's something that they may have to do quite a bit, I'll make sure that they're writing this down because, they're going to need to use it. But that being said, they can call me. I'm going to make sure that's one of the main things that we're looking to do is make sure they know how to operate Jobs for TN, because there is so much available to them on there, that I'm not going to say, oh, well, go to your local career center. They'll help you there. If I can help you over the phone, I'm most certainly going to do that. This process, I've gotten a lot of freedom. If folks want to come into the center and see me specifically, they still can do that. I'm not, some removed piece that's just talking to them virtually. So, did that answer your question? Okay, good.
Here we go.
What are the hours of access? Say someone's at 10 o'clock at night on Jobs for TN, what kind of
So
response do they get?
it's not a 24-hour service. I mean, we're all state government, so we're
They can still put in a regular ticket, but Holly's not reaching out to people actively.
yes.
Past four,
No,
yeah.
no.
We'll see.
We're-
We'll see.
So if someone puts in a ticket, it's just like any other trouble ticket submitted on Jobs for TN. We'll see it in Zendesk, the next day. And there are beyond virtual AJC, there's a lot of other chat agents that are there to help people navigate their particular issue. So we're really more the proactive side of that. So we're reaching out to them, and if it's someone that we've spoken to before, and they're reaching back out to us, then generally it's with the next day we're getting back to them.
But if other agents get in a chat with someone who needs assistance that we can provide, they can invite us, they can share the chat with us. So they're able to transfer the person to us so that we can assist.
Yeah, so we have gotten some regular tickets that have transitioned from just asking a question to Holly reaching out to them, determining some specific need, and then transferring it to us. So if you're in the right area, then it's a good chance that you'll get to one of us.
Yeah. We get this question.
Good morning.
Hi.
I would like to get a little information on how you're connecting the career coach that is out, your mobile units. Are those being connected to the individuals that have transportation barriers?
We don't really, so the virtual AJC isn't really connected with the career coaches. So in a direct sense, I mean, we're all part of the same, job center, system. But, if, definitely if we know that somebody, is going to be in the area where the mobile coach is going to be and we can get them to the mobile coach, I would imagine that's something that, Brandon or Danny would be able to direct them to. Yeah.
Definitely. Right now, we're only being in Northern Middle. There will obviously be some transportation issues and problems of that nature, but most folks in this area are pretty close to an AJC, if not a comprehensive center. So it's not something we've seen a lot of. Obviously, we know that's a problem in the workforce, and I would imagine that's a problem we'll experience a little more when we get into Northeast, Northwest, Upper Cumberland. It's not something we're seeing a whole lot of now, but yes, I mean, if we know where the career coach is going to be and I got somebody, I'm going to direct them to that mobile coach as an option for them.
Hello, I'd like to applaud you. Ooh, this is loud. I'd like to applaud you all for the work that you're doing. I do have a question. I was viewing a gallery online called Autopsy of America, and it was basically these malls around the nation and these beautiful trees and plants growing in them, and just like this collage of these pictures. So that tells us a lot about brick and mortar and the age of technology. So is the strategy to always direct customers to an AJC, or is there an identified strategy to actually enroll people in WIOA and maybe view and speak with somebody FaceTime or some other type of medium so people don't have to go into the brick and mortar and maybe do a lot of the case management and the face-to-face contact virtually?
Currently, we're not doing that yet. I wouldn't say that it's out of the scope of possibility just with what, with what technology is capable of right now. I think right now we're kind of like taking baby steps. You know, we've got one. We've got a couple of platforms that we're trying to tie together in a more cohesive way. Denise?
Can I answer?
Yes, ma'am.
I think I was supposed to not say anything, but I have to.
Please do.
So, yes, that's the goal. The goal is that we're doing this really just as a means of kind of testing the waters. The goal is that there'll be someone from all programs, hopefully, all of our partners, that are available to do this virtually. So right now, Brandon is testing. When he gets it, he kind of kicks it to whoever in that AJC can provide the services. But the goal is to make this in such a way that if someone needs services, they can fill out just a few questions online. It tells you what they are available or what their barriers are, what they're eligible for, and they can be enrolled and do as much as possible online. I mean, we are in an age where people can DocuSign, they can do a lot of things without having to come in person. I'll tell you, just being completely transparent, one of the things we deal with very often at central office, and our staff can attest to this, is when we get complaints from folks that says, I had to come back to the AJC 3 times, 4 times, over and over and over and over again, or for an orientation. You can do an orientation by video. So it really closes the gap between the time a person engages our system and the time they actually get the service. So the goal is to how much can we move. Now, I'm being honest, I don't think we're gonna ever go to just one format. We're gonna have a hybrid system, because some folks still need that touch, high touch. But the goal is to try to get to where we can narrow this down to just a few questions that we can ask. It will populate eligibility. The system is intelligent enough to do that right now. And then from there, we can go through with enrollment. And then going back to Kathy's question, I think Kathy, you asked, well, when was it coming to a theater near you? The goal is to get this, work out kinks so that we don't want to roll you out anything that's going to be problematic for you. We want this to add value and not extra work. So the goal is that once Brandon and this team up here, they've done an incredible job, is to map processes and how we think it should go, because we don't want to have to stack additional resources. We want to use what we already have under roof, map the process out, and really take on those boards that are willing to do it. Because again, we're testing this at the state level, so we're not requiring anything of you at this point. But the goal is that we want you, as a local system, you tell us when you're ready. We're only doing this, not even throughout Northern Middle, we're only doing Metro Nashville right now. We're not doing it in Clarksville, we're not doing it in some of the other areas, but we're really testing the water. So if you are a local area and you really want to test this virtual strategy, reach out to us. We would love to connect and say, let's try it in your area. But right now, we're really in that beta stage right now. So we would love to onboard more. They're looking at me like, no, we don't. We're going to get them some more
Yes, we
help.
do.
But that's the goal. So thank you for asking that question.
Thank you, Denise.
Do you have a question?
I think I have a box.
Yeah.
Okay. So earlier, Brandon, you mentioned that when you're assisting those customers through the phone calls, that knowing what the other areas are doing whenever you guys branch out.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know in our area, we have our own website that we do have a directory of staff in each office. We have our calendar of events when we're doing our workshops and our in-house hiring events, that maybe when you guys roll into the other areas, reaching out to them and asking if they have that available, so then you can point those customers in that direction and they can find that information, or you, so that you can pass that on to them.
Absolutely. Something like that would be extremely helpful. An email with a flyer of something like that would be, so a website that's constantly updating, absolutely, something like that. Anything comprehensive, easy for me to just be able to look and say, oh, Clarksville does their WIOA orientation on X day, and so I shouldn't send somebody there a day after or a day before, because then they're going to have to go back, like Denise said, make multiple trips, and that's when people get frustrated, when you aren't communicating properly. So
Sounds like a best practice right there.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I think common practice, correct?
We can hope.
And just real quick, I got just a statement to make. First of all, I appreciate the work. I'm Ryan Allen, Performance Director, and my staff have done a wonderful job on this virtual AJC. But I did want to take a chance to, just as a reporting plug, we've got to change the way we do business along to stay relevant with other competition. So that's one of the main reasons. We a couple years ago were looking at somewhere in the number of 300,000 Wagner-Pfizer participants per year. And that number, you know, there's been some changes in the regulations that have made our numbers drop significantly. So this is a proactive approach. You remember the days where everybody to file an employment had to come into the Career Center. That's no longer the case. Everybody does business by phone. Everybody's got a smartphone these days, and so, you know, that's the way we do business. So this whole virtual AJC concept was came out of that idea. So again, we've got to change with the technology. We will be launching this statewide, and so I appreciate the team's help on that. So thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Hallworth, did you have a question? Oh, he handled it. Okay, fantastic. Anybody else? All right, I can't see anybody else. All right, that's all we got. Thank y'all.
Thank you, guys.